What up, Moritz from Wolkify.com here. I want to shoot a quick video today about something that I would like to call the pursuit of happiness. So what is it that I mean by that? Well, for that I need to give you a little bit of a backstory here. Last weekend I flew all the way from Stockholm to Poland to visit a buddy of mine who was getting married this weekend. So I took the plane from Stockholm to Warsaw, then took a train to Katowice, which is down in the south, then had to take a bus in order to get to his wedding and attend the ceremony and the party afterwards, which was pretty insane. If you've ever been to a Polish wedding or a Russian wedding or a Czech wedding, I think they're pretty similar in the way that they drink a lot of vodka. Anyway, I met this buddy of mine 6 years ago when I was just 22, and I moved to Czech Republic in order to do an Erasmus exchange. I had never lived abroad before, and I gotta say, when I first arrived there I was pretty much horrified. It was not Prague that I was living in, which is a gorgeous city in Czech Republic. I lived in Karviná, which is all the way to the east, pretty much next to the Polish border. You could actually cross the border by foot, and it was just very post-communist. The dorm that I was living in was falling apart. When I first arrived there, the toilet didn't work. I actually had to go to the bar next door in order to take a piss, which was kind of ridiculous. Every time we went there we took a shot as well. You know, I was sharing this room with the buddy of mine who got married now, and he was a little strange at the beginning. We didn't actually get along that well at the very start. Everything was new to me. The city didn't have a lot to offer. The university was different from what I expected. So in many ways it was a very new and unique experience for me to go abroad, but very quickly I adapted and I actually had one of the best times of my life there. I had a blast and I met amazing friends that I'm still seeing now. Even after 6 years I'm going to their weddings. I'm still in contact with the others. We had all these amazing times together, and even though there wasn't a lot to do per se in the city, and actually we didn't do a lot except traveling and partying and doing weird shit, we really had a blast, I gotta say. And me and my buddy, like, after the wedding was over, the next day we woke up and had some breakfast and actually looked at old pictures from back then, 5 or 6 years ago. We looked at videos that we recorded at parties, and I was thinking, man, I was so happy back then. Like, I didn't have anything there. Like, the university was crap, the dormitory was crap, the city that we lived in was crap, let's be honest. It really wasn't anything to do there. And yet I had such an amazing time there. I had such a blast with the people, with the stuff we came up with. We were so creative in finding things to do, you know, like we had, like, once we had a party where we just, you know, like, dressed up in garbage bags, and it was so ridiculous but at the same time so funny and such a happy time for all of us. I mean, my buddy still says it was the happiest time in his life. A lot of the other friends that I'm still in contact with say the same, and for me, I gotta say, it was one of the best times as well. Even though so many things that I did back then I would not want to do now anymore, and I kind of evolved from that stage. But it made me look at what is really important in life, and it got me to the point where I realized that the really only important thing that we all strive towards throughout our journey that is life is finding happiness. That's really all we want, if we're honest. People might look for the love of their life, they might look for a lot of sex, they might look for a lot of money, success, accomplishments, they might look for freedom and traveling, they might look for spiritual experiences, but all these things can be summed up in the pursuit of happiness. That's really all that we're doing throughout life. We want to be happy, and we want to find things that give us that feeling of happiness. And for most of us that takes quite a long time to figure out what makes us happy. Some find it never in life, some find it pretty early and then keep chasing that high that they get from doing these things that make them happy. And I think that's all good and fun. Like even if you're even if you're drinking or even if you're taking drugs or smoking too much or partying too much, if that is what makes you genuinely happy, not just this fake high that wears off and that makes you depressed the day after and makes you regret everything you did the night before, but if it makes you genuinely happy, I think go with it. I think the only thing that really matters in life is that we find happiness and joy in the things that we do. And if you find something that gives you that, persist, just keep doing that thing and keep enjoying the moment as long as that moment and the thing that you're doing in that moment really gives you pleasure. As long as it gives you that sincere feeling of happiness, I don't think there's anything wrong with just keep doing that. So, to get back to my story here, I looked at all these videos from me 6 years ago, and there's some pretty wild videos. I really hope they never make it online. Some pretty dumb and weird shit we've done. But I noticed, like in most of the videos, either drinking, I was drinking way too much back then, or smoking. I was actually smoking for a very short period of my life back then in Czech Republic. Most of all because everybody was doing it and it was so cheap and I was like, what the hell. I was eating very unhealthy, I was not exercising, I was not reading any books, I was not getting smarter at university where I had to go. So I really didn't do any of the things that I value now and that are more important to me now. And yet, I would say in many ways I was way happier back then. I was less stressed, I was just fully outgoing, and I could see that joy in my face in every of these numerous pictures and videos of me at parties and interacting and whatnot, traveling. I could see the sincere joy that this kind of life brought to me. So it really made me realize back then I was doing exactly the right thing for me at the time. At the time, this was exactly what I wanted to do with my life, and I did it. And it gave me sincere pleasure and sincere joy, so there was no reason for me to not do it. But then I evolved over the years. As I mentioned, that was like 5 or 6 years ago. And by evolving, also the perception of myself changed. I think I became a more complex human being. I'd like to think so. So my horizon broadened and I discovered that there's actually more to life than just partying and hooking up and traveling and drinking. So I noticed that all these habits that I loved before and that brought me true joy and sincere happiness and fulfillment actually kept me from growing as a person even further and from becoming better and more complex. So what was once making me happy now held me back from being happy again. I noticed just being this lunatic who goes wild at every single party wasn't giving me any fulfillment anymore after a while, and I needed to change my habits. I needed to party a little less, work a little more, actually think about what I want to accomplish in life, start making these video blogs, start writing more, start reading more, doing more exercise, going to the gym, eating healthy, sleeping more regularly, paying attention to my sleep schedule, going out, interacting with people, broadening my social circle, travel to other continents. These are all things that I started doing because, just the simple joys in life didn't fulfill me anymore. I was looking for something more complex and I was looking for something more sustainable. So I was looking for fulfillment through these things, and I still wouldn't say that I'm as happy now as I was back then, but that's simply because I'm taking on a lot more challenges in life. I'm trying to do a lot more things, and I'm expecting a lot more from myself. So I think it's normal that you have these times where you're stressed out or where you're worried about the future and you feel like it's not going in the direction that you want to go, and you feel like things are not coming together. But that's part of that joy and that process of finding happiness for me on that sort of higher level now, a couple of years later. So I think the message here really is try to find the things that sincerely fulfill you at the time, but also realize when that time is over. Realize when the time has come to move on to a next level, and then don't look back. Cut all the dumb shit you've done in the past and that brought you joy and happiness. Cut all of that out if it's not working for you anymore, and try to find the next level for you, because there's always a next level. We as human beings are not made for just eternal happiness. I don't believe in that. I think we can find happiness for a little while, like sincere, grounded happiness, and then we will look for a new thing to accomplish, and we will have to strive towards that in order to feel like we're still on the right path and to still feel like we're happy because we're working towards a goal. I don't believe we can stand still, so this is kind of the message that I wanted to share with you today. Look at the things that bring you joy and happiness. Do them as long as they're working for you, whatever it is. I really don't mind, as long as you're not harming others, and as long as you're honest to yourself about true happiness and not fake highs and instant gratification bullshit happiness. But as soon as this is not working for you anymore, whatever you're doing, try to find something new, try to look for the next level, try to evolve, and really try to be this ever-changing person that is content with the feeling of never being complete. The kind of person that is content with, you know, stripping yourself of your ego, stripping yourself of who you are at the moment, and just being happy taking a dive and risking jumping into the cold water, not knowing what's waiting for you, but taking the dive anyway, seeing where you will end up. Peace.